Hey doctors, I want to go over a video here with you today on scheduling and managing your schedule with your staff. Um, when you're in a highly marketed practice where you're doing a lot of marketing, whether it be pay-per-click ads, what have you, you're going to have to really watch your schedule if you really want to maximize your profitability in a week, in a month, and a year. Doctors that kind of take this too lightly, they don't really pay attention to the schedule. They don't really have certain guidelines that they go over with their staff and review these things with their staff on a daily basis. A few of the things that I did in my practice to help leverage my schedule Monday through Thursday. I work Monday through Thursday, so I typically, and I might hop up here on the board and write a few things as well. So I usually work Monday through Thursday. And I work typically started 7:45 in the morning, finished around 11, and then I started up again around 1, 12:45, 1, and then I went till about 5:36. So I usually took our last patients around 5 o'clock. If it was a new patient, try to do those around by say 4. Last ditch opportunity to get in as a new patient typically was 5 because I didn't want to be at the office much longer than 6:30. But one of the things that I did, I think that helped me really leverage my schedule and to be the most productive, to where I could determine what I was worth per hour in that office, because I was only in that office a limited amount of time. It didn't mean that was all I was working on my business. I worked on my business Fridays and Saturdays as well, but I was working on the business, not in the business. So I was working in the business during the Monday through Thursday hours, and every day my staff was required to give me a schedule 3 times a day. So at night, sometimes marketed calls would come in, different things, changes in schedule would occur. The staff would come in first thing in the morning, check messages, go ahead and redo the schedule, and then give me a schedule for the day. We sat down for 5 to 10 minutes. We talked about the schedule. We talked about new patients coming in, any new opportunities we had, any problematic cases, anything that we needed to discuss on that day's appointment schedule. Then we would get rolling. But that 5 to 10 minutes in the morning would allow us to go in and really hone in on what was going on. Every new patient in my practice, every new patient in the practice opportunity on the phone was required to have a new patient phone script by my staff. So those were printed off and put on my desk every night as well. So those new patient opportunities were also distributed to me in the morning meeting. So if we had 4 new patients or 4 report of finding, usually it was more or less on the new patients. So if we had 4 new patients that day, those new patient phone scripts were with the schedule. And so I could quickly review that, ask any questions that I had, or we would have any red flags or cautionary areas. We would go over those as a group so we knew how to prepare best for those particular candidates coming in. So we didn't just wing it. I was very aware of what my schedule was on a daily basis. I had it printed in the morning. It was revised, given to me. It was put on my desk. It was put on, if you have any type of other services, it was put in every room. Every staff member had a schedule, and that was our beginning schedule for the day. Now we had our morning routine. We did seeing our patients, and then we had at lunch, we would have changes to the schedule, what have you, and then before we started the afternoon, a new schedule was put on my desk and at all the stations, right? So everyone had a new schedule for the afternoon, right? And so we all knew what was going on that day, what exactly was happening, what to expect. And then at the end of the day, before we left, there was a stack of papers on my desk, probably 7 or 8 different items that I required my staff to give me at the end of the day, so I was better prepared for the next day. Right? So one of those pieces of paperwork was my schedule for the next couple days, right? I think I was even printing off up to the next 3 days, so I kind of had a vision for what was going on, or at least at the end of the week. When I left for the weekend at Thursday night, when I got ready to leave for the weekend, I had a schedule printed off for me for the next 4 days, so I knew what was going on the next week. So if I seen my scheduled week the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday the next week, typically would be the most heavy on Monday the following week or Tuesday. If I seen that I had a week schedule, what do you think Dr. Rader was doing on Friday? He was tweaking his ads, he was increasing something, he was doing something to generate more calls on Friday to help book the schedule more for Monday. So there was always a strategy involved in managing this schedule. So Thursdays and then I want to go over specifically about Thursdays, because Thursdays is a critical day for a lot of doctors who do marketing. So in a marketing situation is much different than a referral practice situation. A referral practice situation, the relationships are a bit deeper, the bonds are a bit deeper, people know, like, and trust you more. So the show rate, the schedule and show rate is much, much higher. It's anywhere between, most practices, anywhere between 80 and 100, 95% show, schedule to show. Now in a marketing practice, especially a new practice, is not going to do as well on scheduling and shows. So one of the first things that they'll see is holes in their buckets for the schedules and show rates. And so those are one of the first things we have to address with new doctors, is getting those more people to schedule and show. And it's no fault of the staff. The staff haven't been properly trained, or they don't know what to really look for, because they've typically been used to a more referral practice. Everyone that calls schedules and they think they're rock stars, right? Until the marketing begins, now the game has changed, right? So when the game changes, we don't know how to adapt. So I help doctors adapt to that new game, and so we help to get more schedules and shows. So the new staff person at the front desk taking marketing calls will get schedules, but they'll find out no one is showing. So there may not be a sense of urgency on the phone. There's several things that may be going on that new patient phone call that may not inspire a new person to actually come in, especially if that staff is not allowed to answer every question and loses control in a call with the new patient prospect. And so getting back to this final point here on the video, Thursdays, and so this has just come up recently. If in a marketed practice, in a heavier marketed practice where you're driving in a lot of new patients and new patient consults, it's very important to try not to get that patient scheduled, that new patient consultation scheduled out further than 24 to 48 hours. If you get past 72 hours or 3 days with that new patient consultation, you're probably going to lose the patient, especially if you're scheduling that person on a Thursday to the following week. So we want to make sure that we get that new patient appointment set within 24 to 48 hours if at all possible. And so there's different techniques that I can share with different staff, and one of the things that I do is help teach new staff and new doctors how to create a little higher sense of urgency on the new patient phone call, make the doctor seem a little more elite and more in demand for that new patient consultation. So it puts a value on that consultation. It's not just a free consultation when people don't show up. So oftentimes it's appropriate for the staff to pull back away from the patient to be able to help that patient get what they need, which is to get into your office and actually experience a consultation with the doctor to see if the doctor can actually help. Thursdays, Wednesday night, I looked at the schedule for Thursday. Thursdays needed to be very well leveraged on Thursday because it was my last day of the week, and I needed to be I needed to produce as much as I could on Thursday before the end of the week. So we always had goals, we had targets, we had people we wanted to help. So that night, Wednesday night, I would go over that with the staff. Do we have anybody on our books? I'd have 4 new patient times and report times in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. Do I have anybody in my books that's probably not going to show up for the appointment, or they're not very serious? If we did have some of those people on Thursday and I had a full schedule, if I didn't have as full a schedule Thursday, then I would leave it be and roll the dice and see what happened when that person came in to see if they were a candidate or not. But if they were asking a lot of questions on those new patient phone scripts, they're asking a lot about insurance or my fees, and they had a lot of skepticism and weren't sure if they're even going to keep their appointment, and the staff was having a difficult time with that person, most likely I'm going to ask my staff to remove them from the schedule for Thursday and open up a slot or two for a new person, or a report of findings that I needed to get under care that started as a consult the same day on Thursday. So I'd like to try to flip the consults to reports on the same day if possible. It's not always as easy on a Thursday afternoon to do a consult report back to back, do emergency reading and x-rays and MRI, and do a bit watered down presentation in order to get that person started. But I did everything I could because I didn't want to push that patient out to Monday or Tuesday the following week, especially if they were hurting, because I knew I wasn't open Friday, and there's a good opportunity for that person to actually go somewhere else on Friday to either get a cortisone injection, some sort of therapy, or see another chiropractor or a medical physician. So I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to be able to control the cases as much as I possibly could. So I was very, very stringent on this with my staff. So the staff knew unless I gave them permission, hey, we're not scheduling anybody on Thursday afternoon, they knew that we needed to get those folks in and try to get them help before the weekend. And then I would check their first follow-up on Monday morning. So very critical. Review your schedules 3 times a day. I had a program where I could print off the entire schedule on one piece of paper. I could see all my visits, all my spinal decompression visits, my upper cervical visits, everything, my consultations, my reports, all on one sheet of paper, so I could visualize what was going on. So having a visual of your practice, it's like your roadmap, right? Every day I had a roadmap. I knew what I wanted to go, I knew what I needed to do, and then I focused on strategizing the best way I could. I was a single doctor practitioner, so I didn't have other doctors to overflow to. A single doctor practitioner with 2 staff producing 6 figures a month. So I had to be very strategic and to give people the best care possible, and also not just being able to do this in your schedule, but to give this person that's coming to you to pay high value to work with you, to give them the best care possible, to super exceed any other doctor in your community and give them the best. So that they will stay and pay and refer and become lifetime patients. So I hope this helps. But Thursdays, you want to try to get those folks started. Any new calls coming in, try to get them started on Thursday before the following Monday. Try to do whatever you can. If there's an MRI that has to be outsourced, then the MRI has to be outsourced. Usually I had relationships with my MRI facilities. I could flip the MRIs within an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I could have the report back. I could go ahead and review that with the patient, get them started, and maybe even I needed to bring them back next week and maybe do a little bit more thorough report of findings. But create some urgency. If you don't have urgency, doctor, your staff is never going to have urgency as either. And so you'll find that you'll lose a lot of people. So a lot of new doctors, when they start marketing, say, oh, marketing doesn't work. No, the marketing works, but you have to get better. Your game has to be better. You have to be better, right? And that takes a little time. It doesn't occur overnight. There's a bit of a process. Some doctors, it takes 6 months to 1 year to really start perfecting that process. Some docs pick it up within the first 120 days or so and are going pretty well. It just depends on the style of practice you've been in, how long you've been doing it, how staff sometimes can be very attached to the old way of doing things and don't want to move to a new direction, and they can resist the doctor a lot. And so those are roadblocks too that the doctor has to resolve as quickly as possible, especially when you're doing marketing, to be able to start really scaling and delivering on your marketing ability and getting new people started in your community. So I hope this helps some of you to be able to look at things more in detail. Have a plan every day, have a strategy. Don't just go in and wing it every day. Don't just not look at your numbers. Don't not look at your schedules. Pay attention to what's going on. The more you pay attention to this, the more you pay attention to your cancellations, your reschedules, your missed appointments, your no-shows, and the more you try to assist your staff and support your staff to get better at this, and you get better at this as a doctor, you will be surprised. What I'm showing you right now can add a couple $100,000 to your bottom line over the next year. And you may think that's crazy, but it's not, especially if you're spending anywhere between $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 or more on marketing per month, okay? Hope you found this valuable, guys. If you have any questions, shoot them back to me. Leave any comments in the comment section here. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.